Hello and welcome back to the Level Cap Podcast, your home for Level 99 Games Things news and Level 99 otherwise.
Yep, welcome back. I am Brad, your co-host, and I'm here with Marco DeSantos, your main host.
Or other co-host, I guess. Aren't we like equal?
Co-host. I feel like you're above me in the hosting hierarchy. Like you're like the host of hosts.
The hosts of hosts. Okay.
You introduced the other host, which makes you the host.
But you
hosts.
introduced me this time. That makes you the main host for this episode.
You still did the introduction. Still the introduction. I feel like it's still on you. Also, you organize this thing. I just show up.
I see.
But you do all the heavy lifting.
You can't handle the responsibility of being the main host, because if something goes wrong, it'll be your fault. So the reason I'm the main host is that if something's wrong in the Level Cap podcast, you can blame me, is what you're saying.
Maybe it's more like if something goes right, I can congratulate you, because if I do it, let me just throw this out there. I'm pretty flaky. I just want to make games, and if I get started making games, the podcast doesn't happen if I'm in charge of it. So
I see.
This is why you're in charge of it, because some people can get stuff done even when they're when they'd rather be making games. I'm not one of those people.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, it's true. It's a vice.
Yeah, I won't put you on blast for being flaky. Let's just say that when Brad a few episodes ago said, this podcast wouldn't be done without Marco, he's not joking.
Absolutely not. Like this is really all about you. But anyway, we should get on to the content.
Yeah, the sweet content that people crave. So let's move on from our introductory segment to our following segment.
That auditory ambrosia that flows from your lips. I couldn't go any further than that.
Ooh, flows from the lips straight into the ears. Okay, now we're just getting.
Yeah.
We should make
like an ear, Oh man, I was about to make an Animorphs reference.
Oh lord,
but
it's been years since I've read my last Animorphs book. Brad, remember,
hey, represent if you read Animorphs back in the day.
Brad, just remember, if you are an Animorph, don't listen to the entirety of this podcast as your animal form, or else you'll get stuck in it. Because this is way longer than 20 minutes.
I think it's 2 hours.
It's 2 hours?
2 hours. How could you get anything done in 20 minutes? Like that's like the time it takes to turn into an animal, right? Like if you
that's
go to
true.
Like hippo form or something, that's like 10 minutes gone. By the time you get back, the time's done.
Okay.
All you can do is like take 2 steps as a hippo.
Yeah, and
maybe you want to be a hippo for like an hour.
Okay, that'd be cool though, to be a hippo for an hour and just chill. But speaking of,
I feel like hippos do have it pretty cool.
Yeah,
just sit around at the water park in Africa and chill out all day. You don't have any parts that are worth poaching you for,
and you're humongous, right? So you have no natural predators.
No predators. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think hippos are the most dangerous animal to mankind. Like they're more hippo kill human deaths than any other kind of animal, including sharks.
Yep.
Every year.
Well, sharks are one of the least. So
I might be totally making that up.
No,
but I feel like hippos are actually the most dangerous.
No, you're not. Hippos are actually known to be one of the most aggressive animals. Mostly because humans keep encroaching on their territory, and they're highly territorial animals. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad one of us did the research.
Oh yeah, and
this has been the hippo segment.
The hippo segment. So from the hippo segment, let's move on to our Game Club game for this week. And our Game Club game for this week won't leave you hollow, but it's Hollow Knight.
Yes, Hollow Knight. I really loved this game. I've played through just about the whole thing. I haven't beat the Radiance yet. The fight's a little tough, but I got my upgraded nail. I'm probably gonna go back and try and beat it in the next few days.
Ooh.
Yeah, like I've really enjoyed this game. This game's really good.
So, Brad, I have a question for you. Is this the Dark Souls of Metroidvania?
What? I mean, Not everything is the Dark Souls of something else.
But you have to admit it's pretty
I'd
Soulsy.
say that it's the Metroidvania of Dark Souls. That's the
Oh.
more accurate term. But it's good. It's good. I mean, it's only Dark Souls because you drop your souls when you die. And now every game's doing that. I don't think that's really a defining mechanic. This is not a game where any enemy in the game can kill you in 2 hits. So in
Yeah.
that case, I'd say it's not. You can play Hollow Knight pretty loose and not worry about dying.
Yeah.
It's really a acrobatic puzzler and a Twitch challenge. It feels a little more like Meat Boy, but with monsters. It's like if Meat Boy
Can attack and
Super
stuff.
Metroid were combined. Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's pretty close to what it's like. Especially when you get to the later levels.
I feel like the Dark Souls parallels come more in like the setting and the world that you're plopped into, because I
Yeah,
feel like
thematically very dark.
yeah, it kind of wears it on its sleeve, right? Because it does the entire, it plops you into the world. It's like no story and almost no cutscenes, and it's like you just got to figure out
Yeah,
the lore on your own. Like that's very Dark Soulsy. So no.
that's true, and it's very much this this ancient ruined kingdom, and there's some kind of what's the word, legend that you have to fulfill in order to awaken the final boss and restore the kingdom, and also discover your own purpose for being there, and it's just really well done.
Yeah, it is. If anything, like, oh, how can I explain this? You know, at the start of the game, it says that you should use a controller to play the game. Like, it's highly recommended that you use a controller to play the game.
Yeah.
But my controller died because my batteries died for it. It's wireless.
Oh man.
So I was like,
So you had to play it on keyboard?
I did play it on keyboard for a lengthy
You
period.
probably
of
didn't
time.
enjoy this game too much.
Here's the thing.
I fear.
My point is that even if I played it on keyboard, it felt amazing.
Oh, okay.
It speaks volumes for how tight and well this game controls. If on keyboard it feels good, I can only imagine what it felt like on controller, man.
Oh yeah, it's really smooth. I mean, but even beyond that, like I've been listening to the soundtrack over and over on repeat. Like the music is great, the atmosphere, it's good. But let's talk about the design of this game, because they have some really cool systems in place.
Sure.
For the game. The one I was most enamored with was the charm system, which is kind of reminiscent of the badges from
Super Mario RPGs.
Paper Mario.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paper Mario for the original 64, I believe, had these similar badges.
Yep.
And that was really neat to see in a Metroidvania style game, because you had to think kind of about your build and how much space your build took up. So that was pretty cool. Aside from that, the game also just felt really well paced.
Oh yeah.
The only
that's
thing
true.
is that I got way too much Geo at the end of the game.
Geo?
It's just too easy to get money.
Oh,
money
oh.
Geo is the money.
Sorry, I thought you meant G-O, like G.O. I was like, what's G-O?
Oh no. Yeah, the money. There's a lot of money, and there's not really enough ways to spend the money at the end of the game.
Yeah, like once you buy all of your badges and like all of like the map upgrades and all that stuff, it's like there's no money sink, and that's like the biggest downfall to the Geo system, I think.
Well, I think they kind of expected you to die more. But the game felt like, if you're an experienced platformer, you're not going to die too much. It was much easier than Salt and Sanctuary.
Yeah.
So
I think what makes it significantly easier than Salt and Sanctuary is the amount of control they gave you, the player, over the player character. You know, because in Salt and Sanctuary, your jumps, your movement speed, they're not as like twitchy and reactive as you are in Hollow Knight. In Hollow Knight, it feels like you're playing a Mega Man game or something like that.
Yeah, like it's like Meat Boy, where you just have that absolute perfect control of every single motion your character makes,
which makes combat amazing, but at the same time way easier than like playing old Castlevania. And like what made that game hard was when you jumped, you were stuck in there in that arc forever.
Yeah. So it's I had a lot of fun playing it, and the locations are really cool. The NPCs are nice. I'm probably going to draw a lot on the experience of playing Hollow Knight when I'm doing the encounter designs for Seventh Cross, because they did they introduced the NPCs and the places in a way that just gave you just enough information to wonder about the truth of these places
Mm-hmm.
and what really happened there. And I think that's kind of the ideal thing for a game like this, is not to tell you too much, not to tell you too little, just to give you enough of a glimpse that you can form your own opinion on what the world is. And I think that is one of the things that made Dark Souls and Bloodborne also really exciting. Was and why this game feels kind of like those is because these games give you just enough of a glimpse to form your own opinion about the world and understand what's actually happening, or to wonder about what's actually happening.
Yep. And I think the way they introduce all of these things, it's like, how can I explain it? It does it like so subtly that if you're the kind of guy who just wants to like boss, kill boss, kill boss, kill boss, kill boss, it's fine. But if you're the kind of person who takes their time and looks at the environments, you can tell that they're telling a story. Like what was that one part? Like with the dung defender. I don't know his real name.
Yeah.
Like the dung defender. Like 2 rooms before you enter his room, you'll start seeing all the dung balls layered around the place, right? So it introduces them really well and like really subtly without being in your face, and I like that. Oh, speaking of which, my favorite NPC is the dung defender. Great NPC, love him.
Yeah, I liked the Zote, the guy that always it was like who he always talks really big game, but then you have to rescue him like 5 times over.
Yeah, you even fight them.
You actually get to you get to fight him a little later, and he he's not very good. Just a spoiler alert.
Yeah.
He's as bad as you think he is at fighting.
I am Zote the Mighty.
But somehow he survives. So
yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, the way they did voices in this game is really neat too, because the characters, it's kind of like Animal Crossing, where the characters speak in this weird other language.
Yeah.
But the personality of the character really comes through in the voice acting.
Yeah.
And that's something that's I'd say that's pretty special.
Nothing in this game feels more comforting than hearing Cornifers like.
Oh, yep. But then at the same time, like the mining girl at Crystal Peak, Mila.
Yeah.
Like she starts out singing this song, and then as time goes on, like she starts to be affected by this curse, and like the song changes and gets slower, and then at the end, like you hear her like crying in the middle of the song as she's mining.
Oh wow! Okay, so I didn't know that.
And then at the end, like she just turns hostile and becomes like one of these mindless bugs, just a generic enemy, and it's so sad. Like just you come visit her a couple times, and she's like, let's go mining. There's enough crystal for everyone. And then like you start to see, like you want to be like, Mila, get out of here. Something bad's happening to you.
Oh no!
She starts talking to herself and muttering and forgetting the words to her song, and yeah, it's very sad.
And like that NPC's there for almost no reason, right? Like
yeah, she doesn't do anything for you. It's just a story.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes it really nice. Is, sometimes you just have those NPCs that have those moments and not necessarily mechanical moments. It's great. Yeah. See, I didn't even notice that. This is what you get for being the kind of player.
You got to get pretty far in the game before she transforms. You probably haven't gotten it there.
Oh yeah, I'm not that far. I haven't reached end game for all of those wondering because I am a bad boy and I don't play Hollow Knight enough. That's it. That's the only justification I have. All right, so that pretty much does it for this segment. Brad, do you recommend Hollow Knight to everyone? And if you say no, I'm gonna wonder who you are.
No, absolutely. I would absolutely recommend this game to anybody. Anybody who plays platformers. It is a difficult platformer, and if you are not into the genre, don't play it for the story. Is what I'm getting at. Play it for the gameplay. It's really great. But it's tough. It'll challenge you.
Yeah. I recommend it too for everybody who likes atmospheric. How do you pronounce that?
Yeah, atmospheric games. Atmospheric.
Yeah, atmospheric games.
They're both fine.
If you like Mega Man, like the amount of control you have. The feel is just so good. The game feel is so good. If I ever need like a case study for game feel, Hollow Knight's gonna be my case study.
It feels good to play.
Yeah,
I really enjoy it.
yeah. So that pretty much does it for our Game Club segment of this week. Again, if you guys have any games you want to recommend us for Game Club, put them in the comment section down below, and we will, of course, get to that game as soon as possible. But moving on from games to characters. Because, Brad, our character of the week this week is...
Clinhyde 8. Yeah. So this is a neat character to get to be able to do. I think it's our first character from Division 13.
Yeah.
That we're doing.
So obviously not Organization 13, I assume.
Yeah, not Organization 13. Let me. Although maybe there's some inspiration there. I don't know.
Are you
it's
sure?
Been like 10 years since. It's been 10 years or so since I played Kingdom Hearts 2.
Okay, Brad.
I got so disgusted. I haven't. Is the third one is out? Maybe
it's coming out like next year, I think. But Brad, honestly,
I'm so disgusted with the series. I haven't even played any of the others, like or anything beyond 1 and 2.
Why are you disgusted?
Because it's just like I forgot the story, and the story was convoluted anyway. Like the gameplay was okay. I was like, all right, I'll play 3 when it comes out next year or so. And it's been like 10 years. I'm not gonna play 3 now. Like I don't care. Like. Even if they did a story recap, it would just be, I don't know. Like I felt like, remember I told you how bad the story for BlazBlue is?
Yeah.
I feel like the story for Kingdom Hearts thought that was good storytelling and decided to do it like 5 times over. It's probably the other direction because of the chronology of it, but I mean the story is so convoluted in that game, and there's so many people that don't matter, and so many words, and and then it's gotta I mean, you couldn't get away with putting the story in a Disney movie. Let me tell you.
Yep.
Like, nobody would understand what's going on.
Brad, you want to get pissed off more before we get to Clinhyde? You want to get pissed off more? So you haven't played any of the side games? So like Birth by Sleep or...
I tried one.
Which was?
I can't remember.
All right.
I think it was... It doesn't matter.
Hey, Brad. So you know that Sora is Roxas, right?
I guessed something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know that they're also both an entirely separate character? And there's another 4th character who's also them? So there are 4 characters who are actually the same person.
This story's dumb. Let's go on.
So hopefully...
I could write a better story about that. I could write a better story than that, and it's going to be about this cool tech ninja who uses all these stim packs and electric sticks to covertly beat people up and do Black Ops missions for a secret technocracy station in the far north of Indians. And that character is going to be called Clinhyde.
Boom! It's already done. Oh, what's this magic?
Yep.
Future magic.
See there? I wrote a story better than Kingdom Hearts. But yeah, anyway, Clinhyde. So Division 13 is this super soldier program in Walat. Walat is the northern government in the world of Indians, and they are in a very high-tech race, or very high-tech country. The reason they're so high-tech is because they're the Elven nation, and the elves are smart and they live forever, and so they don't have to go to school except once, and they can just keep developing technology forever and ever. So they have much better tech than the rest of the world. And so they are ruled by this council of 13 elders, and then each one of those has has their own kind of department of the government that they manage, and also their own secret scientific research that they're doing, and they also have a hand in this super soldier program. So each one of them throws in their technologies and develops, kind of weaponizes them for the defense and I don't know exactly what the word, but I guess offense of the country.
For the offense of the country.
Harass, mainly to harass the other governments in the world. And so Clinhyde is the result of one of these programs. So he is a sort of a half homunculus, so he's kind of like Carolyn, except he's got a base race of Elven. He's not just purely a created creature.
Okay.
And that alteration allows him to withstand all these substances, which would normally be very toxic to everyone else. So he can ingest, or like he can take charisma, which is basically like the jet fuel that the cadenza robots use, and he can just shoot up on that and become as strong as they are. Or he can take what's it Ritherwhite, which is the kind of tobacco plant that sorcerers use, and he can mainline it, and it makes him psionic and psychokinetic for a certain amount of time. So like all these different resources from around Indians, he has the opportunity to use these in ways that other people can't. And this technology was developed by Serafina, who is a playable character in Battlecon Fate. So Serafina is the person who developed Clinhyde, developed this program, and also created all these substances for him.
And that's why one of her finishers is exactly the same as Clinhyde's finisher.
Yeah, she has the same thing as him. Yeah, although it hurts her a bit. It's a bit more painful for her because she doesn't have the life gain that he has.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense because his body's built to take it. Hers isn't.
Exactly. Yeah. So Clinhyde, personality-wise, he obviously is lived his whole life as part of this super soldier program, but he kind of has a mother figure in Serafina, and in some of the other magisters that are not so oppressive. Most of them are all business, do the operation, etc., etc. But Serafina really kind of cares about him. She taught him photography. She keeps up with his hobbies. She tries to tell him to develop him as a person too. Whereas some of the other characters that come out of this program, like Thessala or like Burgundy or Octavia, they're not as human as Clinhyde is. So I think that's an important difference between him and the rest of the characters in Division 13.
Oh, okay.
Is that he's kind of the one that has more of a human element to them.
I see. So my question is, who were your inspirations for this character? I know he's like a cyborg, like tech ninja, because he's like an agile character and he has all of this like experimental tech. So who are your inspirations for this character, at least design-wise, not mechanics?
Design-wise, it's difficult to say. I guess there's probably I have to say I don't know if I remember any specific inspirations behind Clinhyde. Maybe Ninja Gaiden, actually.
Ninja Gaiden, I see.
Yeah, the newer ones that are a little more modern.
Oh, I see.
But I wanted like a stealth character that could kind of be a counter to Hakech, and he's like horror genre, so I wanted to go tech genre as the other one, and so Clinhyde was kind of the natural conclusion of that.
I see.
So I don't know if he was directly inspired by anything except the needs of the plot to have more high tech characters.
Ah, okay. Because when I looked at him, he reminded me of Strider Hiryu a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
I suppose he does kind of have that look. But I mean, yeah.
And who's the other character? Bane from Batman.
Okay, yeah, I could see Bane too. There's probably a bit of that on subconsciously.
Okay.
Bit of Bane subconsciously in there.
Can we make it very clear that Level 99 Games does not endorse the usage of dangerous substances?
Yeah, dangerous substances from a fantasy world, absolutely don't use them. If you fall through a dimensional portal, you find something you don't recognize, don't eat it. Nobody does that unless you're a super powered ninja homunculus thing.
Yeah. Don't inject it.
Case,
don't inject it. It's bad.
Yeah. Anyway, this has been your public service message for this podcast.
The more you know, and knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe. Okay. How about mechanical inspiration? So Clinhyde's mechanics focus around his stims, right? So you were talking about how he has all of these dangerous substances that essentially allow him to, be as strong as a robot or be telepathic or telekinetic. Sorry. And the way it plays out in the game is that Clinhyde can activate these stims, and when he gets the initial rush of it, he gains this powerful bonus, and then after that, while it's circulating in his system, he gains a watered down version of that bonus. But every turn he has the drugs on, dangerous substance on, he loses life, presumably because it's a dangerous substance. So Clinhyde's all about this, management of when he turns on the toxins and turns the toxins off. So what inspired
and he doesn't always have full control of that either. Like a lot of times you have to hit with certain attacks to turn them off or to reconfigure yourself. The gameplay was very inspired by Hepzibah from the first game, but because I really enjoyed playing Hepzibah, but I wanted more of a brawler type Hepzibah character and not just a let me stand still and zap you from across the screen.
Well, Hepzibah is a mage, so
yeah, so I wanted a more hand to hand combat type of character than Hepzibah, and that was the main idea behind building Clinhyde, was to take Hepzibah and Ketch and kind of merge them together in this other character.
Yeah, he feels like that because he has some of the largest amounts of mobility in the game, like cards wise. Like he has like 3 different movement options, most of which are like full board movements. So it's crazy. I love this character. Clinhyde's a pretty hard character to use because I think Clinhyde's the type of character where I think you succeeded in making a good brawler. So
thank you.
Yeah, so
no, he's been a lot of fun. Yeah. I've really enjoyed.
Because there's a big difference between being a good brawler and being just a character who has a lot of stats and can play anything and it'll work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like characters like, I don't know, old Luke, for example, could just play anything and it would work. And that doesn't make you a good brawler. Clinhyde actually plays a lot of 50-50s, so he kind of feels like a big mix-up character, wherein it's like...
Yeah, having good melee mix-ups is really what it's all about. Being able to go high or low, back or forward, on any given beat, make the opponent keep guessing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what makes him like one of the better designed brawlers in the game. So, though I don't think he's top tier, especially compared to people like, I don't know, Rexan or Runica, I feel like his design is one of the most successful. So I commend that. It's great. I love this character.
Thank you. Well, for fans of Clinhyde, Clinhyde is actually making a cameo appearance in Street Masters. It will, on Kickstarter, it'll already be funded by the time that this podcast comes out. So, but you may be able to get on the late backing, the late pledge. So check out Street Masters and enjoy playing Clinhyde in that game.
Yeah, awesome. I can't wait to see how they adapt doping yourself up into that game.
Well, it is like a street brawler, pit fighter type of game, so they probably have some mechanic for that already.
Awesome, doping.
Do you remember Pit Fighter, the old clunky like Sega Genesis beat 'em up game?
No, I don't think I do.
Okay.
Does it play like Streets of Rage or something? Is it more like
it's like versus? It's like Streets of Rage, but it's versus players. So you're in a closed arena against specific enemies.
Okay, that's interesting. I've played games like that, but I'm not sure if it's the specific game you're saying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, look it up. It's I mean, it doesn't hold up very well, but
I can only assume.
Yeah, I remember spending like $4 to beat that game in the arcade, and that was a lot of money at that age.
Brad, pay to win. My gosh.
It took me so many quarters to beat that final boss. I tell you.
I see. Oh, it was one of those games.
Me and my brother. Yeah, it was in the arcade at like this pizza place, and like we knew we were about to die. Like if I had died and my brother was like, me and my brother played together, and if I had died and he was about to die, he'd be like, Brad, run and go get some more quarters, and we'd go to our dad and we'd be like, Dad, we need more quarters, and and we'd get back and he's like hurry, I've only got like 5 seconds left, and we would put in more quarters and we'd play again, and we had to do that like so many times. But it was good, and me and my brother Ian, we beat Pit Fighter in the arcade, the classic, just like the classic one. It's the only arcade game I've ever actually beaten.
Oh, that's good.
It was a really good memory.
Oh, that sounds great. At least you've beaten an arcade game. I can't even beat freaking anythings.
Well, they're not designed to be beaten.
Yeah, they're what do they call them? Quarter eaters, quarter wasters. I know there's a term for it.
Something like that. I mean, yeah, it was something back in the day.
Yeah.
You don't really see arcade games around much more these days, but
yeah, because you have home
Anyway.
consoles. So that pretty much does it for our character of the week segment on Clinhyde 8. I'm assuming he's called 8 because he doesn't actually have a last name.
yeah, they're all the division members are numbered. So you have Octavia 6, Clinhyde 8, Burgundy 12, 7, Thessala 3. We'll introduce the rest of them in time. They may not all make it out as fighters, though.
Oh, I see. And I really, really, really recommend that if you want a specific character to be talked about on the podcast, put them in the comment section down below, and we'll get to that character as soon as we can. So, next up is our 99 questions segment, wherein we have questions that need to be answered. Brad, are you prepared to answer some questions that may or may not involve your personal work life?
Well, let me respond to that by just saying you got 2 questions left.
You're like a genie. All right.
Yep. There's only 3 questions per episode, no matter what you do.
Oh no. Can I continue then?
1 question left.
Oh no! What am I doing? Okay, seriously. Question number 1.
All right, go for it.
Do you find that you are more creative in game design when given carte blanche freedom, or when you have significant restrictions in place?
I think that I am one of those designers that works better with restrictions, because when, if I know what materials I'm using, or I know what kind of game that I'm gonna make, then I can work in that confine. But when it's like make a game and I'm not told what kind of game it is, or what it's about, or what the goals are, or anything like that, it's a lot tougher for me to decide those things for myself. And it's like I was saying with Trey when the episode where we talked with Trey, I guess I'm a bit insecure as a designer. I always want to change things and make them better, and I always imagine there must be some better way of doing what I'm already doing. So having a couple restrictions in place is certainly helpful.
Yeah, I think I would go with the same direction. Because think about it this way, listeners. What's easier? Make a mod or make a game? That's essentially what this question reduces to, right? Because it's like, when you're given carte blanche freedom, you make something from nothing. But when given restrictions, you make something from something else. You make derivative content, is essentially what it means. So
well, kind of.
I
guess that's one way to think about it.
Yeah, because it's like, it's always easier for me, as a designer, for example, to make a custom BattleCon character than it is for me to just make an entire game, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's certainly true. System design is quite a lot of work.
Yeah, it's
once you get that done, the content is the fun part.
Yeah, which is unfortunate for many of us. Next question. Are there any games that you find fascinating to watch but dislike playing?
Ice hockey?
Ice hockey? Interesting.
I could watch ice hockey, but I don't really want to play ice hockey.
I see. That's interesting to hear from you, though, because it's like, ice hockey. Don't you live in New Mexico? Is there...
I did. Well, I used to live in North Carolina, and they have a really good team. And I did some... I actually wasn't really into it, but in my first job as a contractor, I got some work doing an app for the team. And so I got to... They got us tickets for the games, and I would go see the games with my stepmother. And we had a good time. We had a good time going out to see those games. So it was fun.
That's pretty awesome. For me, it's Hearthstone. Hearthstone?
Yeah. Hearthstone.
It's Hearthstone. Okay. Yeah, Hearthstone. That's the game that I enjoy watching, but dislike playing. Because I watch it to see the people get frustrated at all of the random elements in the game. But I do not want to experience that random elements for myself. Because, I watch it for this sense of Schadenfreude, wherein it's like, I am happy that you are experiencing this misfortune, but I do not want to experience that misfortune myself.
I like Hearthstone. I think that I think you just have to not take it too seriously. Once you start taking it really serious, it's not much game there left.
Yeah, I think Hearthstone's made for memes, if you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Ah, hey! Who's throwing puns now? You were mad at me last episode.
Yeah.
Wait,
Oh man, the puns in some of these Blizzard games. The new Heroes of the Storm guy, Malthael. He's like this Grim Reaper, and he throws a Shadow Blast, and he has a talent that makes his Shadow Blast better. And the talent's called Throwing Shade.
yeah.
Like, oh my god. And anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, they
Wait, who's
nothing
Malthael?
like puns.
I call him
He's from Diablo.
Edgelord.
Yeah,
He's an
yeah,
edgelord. That's what he is. Yeah, I played Diablo 3. He's the final boss, right?
yeah. The final boss, the DLC.
Yeah. All right. Last question. What differences are involved when making a big box game like Millennium Blades or Seventh Cross compared to a regular game like, say, Pixel Tactics?
Well, when a game is more complex and has a lot of components, then there's a lot more to keep tabs on, and there's a lot more that can go wrong. So, you have to be a lot more careful with your component listings for the printer, with what you put in the rulebook as the components, and also what you put in the rulebook as the gameplay, because the gameplay is a lot more likely to change, and it's a lot more susceptible to small changes. So a game like Pixel Tactics, there's like 8 different things you can do, but in a game like Argent, there's like 30 things you can do, and so you have to have more complete rules for all those 30 things. And so it's easier. It's just because there's so much more. It's easier to drop the ball and to make a mistake in your rule book or in the contents of your box or a factory error. Like we had this in BattleCon, where the factory made an error on what they printed just because there's like 8 kinds of components in a BattleCon game, and so it's just a lot to keep tabs on. And that's not bad. It just means these games require a lot more attention to detail, and a lot more care.
I see. And it's unfortunate because, mistakes do happen. Murphy's Law and all.
But yeah, it's the job, and those kind of games are much more rewarding to make too. Like even though Pixel Tactics has done really well, I'm a lot more proud of Millennium Blades, because I feel like like that was a real big endeavor that we undertook and completed. Whereas like Pixel Tactics, like yeah, it's really cool, but it is just a small box game. It's just 30 card or 50 cards, and it didn't take a lot of like a lot of high skill to to create, or I guess to put together the product.
I see.
The product in terms of product design, Pixel Tactics is very basic.
Yeah, it's interesting actually, because I modified this question a bit because the question asker actually put BattleCon under the same category as Pixel Tactics, which I felt was kind of off.
Yeah, no, BattleCon, like the game there's cards, there's punch boards, there's the rule book, there's the game board, stand-ups, the tokens, markers, etc. Sometimes you have the spinners that have the dowels in the middle. Of course you got the box, you've got a vac tray insert. All that stuff has to be managed and has to come together just right. And then in Trials we introduced player tuck boxes, so every player has their own tuck box now. And we have a second rule book, the character guide, which is just introduces the characters. But then take Pixel Tactics, this is a game that has a punch board, 50 cards, and a box. It's a lot easier to put those components together than it is to prepare BattleCon Trials. And even Exceed is usually like 120 cards, 4 tuck boxes, and a game box, and that's all there is to it really, and a rule book. So it's a little bit more in the middle. But then a game like Argent, like I can't tell you all the ridiculous stuff that's in Argent.
Yeah,
a game is pretty tough to put in a box. Millennium Blades, there's a lot of cards, but the cards are very complicated. There's like 24 different expansion sets in the game that have, like 12 cards a piece, and you've got to make sure those are all correct. And then they come in different tiers, and then
cash money,
there's like the character cards, the money. Yeah, like it's just not only the more kinds of components, but the more intellectual divisions in the components.
I see.
The more difficult it is. So like Pixel Tactics, there's 2 decks, the red deck, the blue deck, and they're both the same. Whereas like at BattleCon, every character of the characters in the box has their own deck effectively.
Yeah.
And so that requires a lot more attention to detail as well. The intellectual components are list is much larger in that kind of game.
Yep, because every character actually has their own component list, right? Because
yeah. So we talk about having like a physical component list and a realized component list, where your physical one's like what's actually going to be in the box, like 3 punch boards. But then the real component list is like, Travel has this marker, Trias has these 6 cards, Kimbe has this marker, Hayden has these 7 tokens, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So there's that kind of division as well in the design.
I see. And that pretty much does it for our 99 questions segment of Level 99 Games on the Wall. If we have a question that you want to ask us and are hard-pressed to get some answers from me, but most of the time Brad, well, put them in the comment section down below, or, call us out on social media. And we will get to that.
Thank you guys for all the comments.
Yeah.
We're really enjoying reading through the comments, and I see comments every day, and it really brightens my day to see that people are listening to the podcast and enjoying talking with us and sharing your opinions, on these games, and sharing your questions. So thanks a bunch for getting involved.
And thank you so much for listening, because we are now going to head into our final segment, the News 99, where we bring hot, baked news into the mouth that is your ears.
Wow, that was certainly
a big leap.
That was a sort of, the table which is on the other foot has now crumbled, or something to that effect.
Look, Brad, I was just trying to be more like you, because earlier on you were like, the verbal ambrosia. So I was like, okay, let's go fancy for this one. But I failed. It's fine. So Brad, do you have...
You're doing fine. You're doing fine, Mark.
Oh, thanks.
So news. The news is that you should probably go ahead and pre-order your tickets for BattleCon, Pixel Tactics, and Exceed World Tournaments at Gen Con, because those are mostly sold out already. So make sure you pre-register for those events. We are preparing to do a reprint of Argent the Consortium. That should be up within a month or so. We're also planning to do a first print of Terran Encounters. This is the timeline drafting game by CGC, Chris Solis. It's super fun. I've been telling Chris for like 2 years. We're going to talk with Chris in the next week or two, but I've been telling Chris, for 2 years, he's like, let's do this game. And I'm like, well, we got to keep working on it. It's, we got to make it original. We got to make it something people haven't seen before. And he came back to me with this version, and I really, really liked it. I think that you guys will like it too. It's a lot of fun, and you can read his design blogs on our, on our main site. So just go to the blog section and look at the design blogs, and you can see kind of how this game came together. It's really fun.
It looks awesome, by the way. I really like the new grouping mechanic, which is explained on the blog site. So just read it there. For me, I have my own news. So if you're listening to this podcast, it means that I have recently released the advanced tutorial for Pixel Tactics Online, which will be available on the YouTube channel for Level 99 Games. So check it out there.
Excellent. Oh yeah, and if you're listening to this, we've probably already updated. We probably have battle screens working in BattleCon Online. Cameron's going to be showing me that today, so I think it should be pretty close. But we hope to be showing off some BattleCon Online demos pretty soon as well. So keep on the lookout for those.
All right. No more news?
Those will be also by Marco.
Oh yes, excellent. No more news? No more?
I think we're all set, yeah.
All right, and let's close it out, Brad. And that pretty much does it for this episode of the Level Cap Podcast, where we give you, hopefully, the things that you want to hear. Right?
Shut the door.
Shut the door. Close the blinds. We're going for a ride. Of course, it has been me, your host, Marco De Santos, also known as the Mechanic Critic, and with me is my co-host,
Brad Talton, also known as D. Brad Talton Jr.
Wow. Yes. Yeah. And we will see all of you next week. Bye-bye.
Actually, there's no visual component, but you will hear all of us next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.